Hello and welcome to some practice. Okay, so we're going to play bishop b5, trying to remove the defender. And we have achieved our goal. We have won the pawn on. Now let's just move the bishop back. If queen h4, we always have pawn g3. Okay, cool. We're going to play knight to f3. I know that there's a pawn hanging on g7, however, we're probably going to lose the pawn on g2. Now in this position here, let's see, we have two attackers versus one defender. So I believe this is just up for grabs. Let's just bring our bishop back home. I think this person is upset about losing their piece, and I think they left the game. The same member is offline, so hopefully chesskid is going to recognize that they have left the game and declare a win. Game. I have a feeling we're going to be black this time. Doesn't matter, 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, we're going to be black. Pawn b6. Okay, so they're playing some sort of like stone wall defense. And that can be broken into with this move. Okay, so see, this is one of the reasons why you shouldn't pre-move, because in this position they played bishop to g5, and this is not a good idea because I could simply capture the pawn on e4, ruin the king's safety. So trade queens, ruin king's safety, capture this pawn, and create a threat. And if they decide to capture here first, then there's that pawn on b2, which is in trouble. Now, wait a second. The question is, do we capture here or do we capture on b2? Because knight d2 defends the pawn. Well, to be honest, this one creates pawn structure weaknesses. This one keeps the pawn intact, but now we're threatening to ruin the king's safety. I don't know, let's do this one. We'll see. So I don't want to be greedy because I could capture the pawn on b2. Then the knight is going to go to d2, then bishop goes to... Just have to be really careful. Okay, let's try it. I might get punished. That's okay. So usually when you see that your opponent has some weaknesses, you want to... So in this position, it's very tempting to block with the knight. However, I think the better move The reason why is because I don't want my knight to be pinned. And at the same time, is that something to be scared about? Let's try it. I see something like this. Okay, and then bishop b5, but it's not a big deal. I'm gonna go here. It does make sense to play here if I couldn't capture, well, I mean, I still can't capture with the pawn, but there is still this one defender. Okay, so in this position, what I have to do is I'm going to quickly just move. Oh, but if I move back, then they have knight to e5. That's kind of annoying. And if I castle, then the queen takes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play pawn to a6. Pawn a6 stops bishop to b5. And now I can at least play rook to d8, I think. Or maybe I can even play queen e7 at that point. I think keeping the queen along this diagonal was actually the best idea for white because one of the important aspects is to try to refrain your opponent from castling. So keeping the queen, so I think queen g4 was actually a mistake here. I think that this just simply allows me to castle. I don't see a threat on the king side unless I miss something. Which is, of course, quite possible because we are all humans. Even chess masters are humans and we miss things. Okay, so maybe like maybe trading pieces. It would have been lovely if I could play queen g6, but that's why this is a good move. That was played. Knight e5 okay, let's play knight e5. So since he is down a few points, probably one of the things he should try to do is go into an opposite colored bishop endgame. So I kind of like the idea of, I think he had the move like knight e4 and try to create opposite colored bishop endgame. So we have the bishop pair. I could trade. Yeah, okay. So see, in this position, if I capture, I give him the opposite colored bishops. I also give away my bishop pair. So I don't know if I'm too happy. I think I might just move the queen back. Now in this position, I'm actually threatening to ruin the king's safety. So I'll have like 3 extra points, and then otherwise the king is gonna have to. Queen f6. I didn't have any other good moves. I can't play queen f5 because of the bishop. But yes, we have 3 extra points. I want to capture here and then just try. He's going to capture back with the pawn. Oh, with the queen. Interesting. I was thinking about then moving bishop here and then queen here. Even though bishop... Even though opposite colored bishops isn't great, we do have 3 extra points, so that should be more than enough to win the game, but it might not be enough for me to win the game with only 9 seconds. I probably shouldn't be placing my pawns on the same color as the bishop, actually, but... I'm gonna play bishop b3. Or maybe not, because I think I have rook d3. Then play king f3. Oh, this move. Probably shouldn't have done that. I'm winning another pawn. Rook d2 next move. Oh, that kind of helped me. I appreciate it. No! I was just gonna checkmate the opponent. I should have just captured the bishop, honestly, but I wanted to play fancy. It's not a big deal. I know that I'm winning here, regardless of what was played, but see, this is sometimes when you don't try to play fancy. I wanted to checkmate in. There was checkmate. There was 2 different checkmates that I was threatening to do, and you can't really defend both, except, I guess, losing the bishop. So maybe I should have just captured the bishop and then just played h5. Anyways, it doesn't really matter, but I am very curious to see, because you should always try to analyze your games. So go here, game history. Let's see. %90 accuracy, not bad, not bad. E6 is the last, yep. This is Owen's defense. This was a mistake. It's a great move. King takes b2 is good. Being greedy. And it looks like everything is more or less fine, except probably later on. Okay. King. This allows the opponent to force eventual checkmate. So, interesting enough. Yeah, after h. So basically should have just captured the bishop, or should have just played pawn to h5, but I did not have enough time. It was, but I guess I didn't really see too many inaccuracies in this. Where was an inaccuracy? It says here, inaccuracies, but I do not even see where Funmaster Mike talks about the inaccuracies. Interesting. Or maybe they're talking about no. They are talking about inaccuracies for us. I don't know. I do not know. Well, I am happy. Things were well played. Let's create a new game. Okay, pawn b3. Pawn bishop b2. Awesome. So let's do knight f3 first. Okay. Now I'm threatening to win this pawn. I usually capture in this direction, but I am a little bit curious to see if in this situation maybe capturing with the d pawn is better. Okay, let's castle. I'm going to play a3 for future. So remember h3 and a3. So in this position here, actually, I believe we can just win one of these pieces. And even though the knight can play g3, I would rather have two pieces than... I could have also just played queen e1 and hoped that black wouldn't see pawn to g4, but we will see what the best approach is. So in this position, we have some simple ideas of playing bishop c4, like knight to g5, even though that was kind of defended against that. But you know what? I still want to play this move. This is going to refrain the king from castling. Man, this capture was so... Oh, actually, you know what? I can get... Oh no, I can't play it because there's this queen g5 check move. So annoying. Oh no, wait a second. No, so I think I can play knight takes e5. If knight takes e5, then bishop takes e5. And they can't capture back because of checkmate. Ooh, that looks nice. So bishop is poisoned. Please remember that bishop and a knight is generally better than a rook and a pawn, and even two pawns. The bishop and the knight can be better. Like the bishop can also be better than a rook and two pawns. Two bishops, I mean, can be better than a rook and two pawns. Of course, there are situations where maybe a rook is better than a bishop and a knight, but it's quite rare. Usually the two strong pieces is better than a strong piece and a weak piece. So this game was quite okay. This was quite clever, right? Like trying all of this stuff, but I'm actually kind of curious. You know what? We're going to go back. If you are ever curious, it's actually, you should always be analyzing your game after. However, for me, I already as a chess master know if the game was more or less well played. I'm just kind of curious. Should I have just played queen e1 and waited to play g4? So one blunder. Nimzo-Larsen. Bishop b2 puts the bishop on the long diagonal in a move called fianchetto. This misses an opportunity to prepare a bishop for development. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they were thinking about playing pawn e6 or something, or maybe playing pawn b6 to bring out the bishop to b7. Oh, I guess I could have show line. Okay. Bishop h5. Bishop e2 is a miss. You overlooked an opportunity to capture a pawn and win material after the follow-up. So what does that mean? Should I have just captured here and then captured here? Interesting. Oh, I see that. Okay. Okay, so what the computer is basically saying is that in this position, there could have been a capture. Then we do check. Actually, I thought check, and then if knight d7, then we take it here. I don't know. It's interesting. Maybe it's because after bishop takes and then queen takes, there's that pawn that's hanging. Could also show line. Oh, there you go. Okay, so we play g4. We do ruin the king's safety here, but maybe we decide to castle in this direction instead. Once everything is more or less safe. Yep, this was a mistake. This was a blunder. It's a great move. Good. Yay, knight takes e5 was great. And of course, so this was just basically winning a pawn, but also hoping that they fall into a checkmate, which they didn't fall into a checkmate, but it is very sad that black kind of missed queen takes d2. After queen takes d2, that there was just a simple knight takes d2. Very sad. No kids looking for a game. So first three moves. Uh-oh, they're placing their queen on the same diagonal. So see, the good thing about playing these first three moves, you're not going to get under a 4-move checkmate, for sure. And what we can actually start doing is start putting pressure on the pinned piece. So at the moment, the pawn is pinned. I actually even want to play pawn to f5 and then think about playing knight to f6 and just keep putting pressure on this pawn on e4. Okay, so pawn g6, we have to do this move. Okay, so this move, it actually doesn't save the pawn. So really interesting enough, but the bishop and the knight are in the same, or the pawn are in the same formation of a pawn fork. If he does knight takes e4, we have a pawn fork, sadly to say. I feel really bad. Even bishop b5, we have pawn c6, and both the bishop and the knight are both in trouble. Yeah, and we win this one. Now the question is, do we capture? Actually, you know what? I would recommend us to trade and then play queen d5. So take, queen d5. If the bishop goes here, I'll play pawn c6. Or maybe I'll just play knight d2. Knight d2 seems like not such a bad idea. So that the bishop is still defending the pawn on e4. Hopefully this person's internet connection just didn't go out. Maybe he's thinking. I mean, thinking is very important in a game of chess. I just hope that he didn't just leave the game and leave us hanging. Oh, good, good. So queen takes, queen d5. So remember, when you have extra points, it's good to trade. If the queen moves in the wrong spot as well. Oh, nice. And we can also unisolate the pawn, which is very, very nice, actually. Okay, so let's play bishop to g7. We're going to put pressure on the pawn on b2. Then we can play knight f6 or knight e7. There's a lot of flexibility right now. Okay, so one of the annoying things, remember talking about knight to g5, bishop to g5, so right now, it's actually, when the rook checks me, I would rather hide my king here. And so my bishop and knight are going to be defending. Actually, I just realized you can still play knight e5. Which is okay. I might have to trade off my bishop, which isn't an issue. I'm going to play knight f6 because it defends the pawn on d5 and it also develops the piece. So if you're ever questioning on what to do, remember, just try to improve your pieces at any point in time. So right now, I just want to quickly bring out my knight, attack the rook, and then quickly take control over the e-file. Okay, so the rook moves back. Oh, actually, but before I make this move, I don't want to lose this pawn. Let's play g5 first. You might want to play f4 now. Okay, well now we can play rook h to e8. We're not losing this pawn. Here's the thing, we're only 2 points up, even though we have an extra knight, right? They have a pawn, we have a knight. We really don't want to be giving away extra pawns. Okay, so this move, I do not understand exactly. It's not attacking anything, and it actually kind of helps us to play pawn c5, which is something that we wanted to do in the first place. And if the bishop goes here, it's just going to help us. And in this situation, it's really, I'm really tempted to play here. I don't know, maybe I can prepare for it. It's fine. I'm just gonna put my pawns on block off the bishop. I know he can play, he or she can play pawn to c3. I'll just trade. Just try not to get any isolated pawns or any pawn structure weaknesses, because then our opponent can take advantage of it. Because they're not down 3 points, they're only down 2. So if they win 1 point, their 2 pawns can actually be more or less okay in an endgame against a knight. So usually in an endgame, you want to trade off your strong pieces and stop trading off pawns. Because we know if king and knight versus king, it's a tie. King and bishop versus king is a tie as well. Okay, I'm gonna move here because I want to trade. I also want to try to get maybe my knight into this location. Let's just move here. Even if they trade, I am creating an isolated pawn, but I'm trading off their very last strong piece. Please only pre-move if you know you're gonna capture something. Like if you think your opponent's gonna capture something and you know you're gonna capture, then do a pre-move, but don't do a pre-move otherwise. I wonder if he's gonna try to do something like this and then skewer. Or skewer pin. That's not really gonna work because of pawn. I'm gonna capture here, and once they capture, I'm just gonna start placing my pawns on light squares. Could have probably just played rook e2, but we don't want to create a pass pawn for the opponent. That would not be good. Oh, my knight's hanging, so probably don't want to do that just yet. If he goes here, then I win the rook. And I still win the rook. I would really love to checkmate faster, but I have tunnel vision right now. I think this is mate. If he goes king h3, he or she. Okay, check and checkmate. I don't know what's fancier. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.